Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of hashtag CB99 Talks. I'm Combo Breaker 99, and I'm back with another episode for y'all. Just doing this episode on the fly real quick here, man. I've been kind of busy. Last week I didn't get a chance to do a show, but I did some videos last week. But I'm coming back with the episode right now for y'all. Sorry I left y'all hanging like that, but like I said, the grind, it don't stop. Sometimes I got to go on that grind. When I come back, I'll do some more videos for y'all, give y'all my thoughts on different fights, that take place in either Bellator or UFC or Invicta, LFA, whatever it is, boxing, anything, but just got done running, so I'm a little out of breath. Also, I just got done, looking at the results for these Bellator 247 fights. Man. So yeah, I'm gonna have to add that to the show right here, man. That's what I'm gonna talk about first, because the prelims started at like 1:45 or 1:30 this afternoon, because the card took place in Italy, so I had to go back and pull that up after my run and just look at the results, because I saw a couple of the fights this afternoon, but then I just had to go do some things and I came back, and then after that went running, came back and saw the main event, and wow, I just watched the main event just now, literally like like while I was loading everything up. So real quick, man, I'm gonna give you the results on the women's fights. Bellator 247, the prelims. This was a fight I was looking forward to. Monica Chocolakova uh, and versus Jade Duran. They both were making their debut. They were actually both making their debut. And Monica, she defeated Jade Duran via second round submission. Dang, a scorpion crunch. I was just looking at that highlight. I was like, damn, man, like the way she had her wrapped up, and then she had her like, she had Jade was Monica was on her back, and she had Jade Duran in like a bear hug on the ground, and she just like started crushing her, man. And she had the tap, because I think it was like really crushing her rib. I was like, damn. I was like, what is she doing? Because I thought it was just like a guillotine, the way her head was tucked under, but no, she actually had her in a pinned up, and Monica actually was able to grab her legs and pull her legs in tight to really start crushing her. And she had the tap. I was like, wow, I haven't seen that before. I really haven't. I maybe seen it one time before, but as long as I've been watching MMA, maybe I've been missing that. But that was like the first time I've seen that in a long time, if any. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back and do a post-fight analysis of that one. The Manny Bowen versus Greet Eckhart fight. Mandy Bowen, she's another flyweight that's on to come up. Have to look out for her. She came into this fight 6-0, and she left 7-0 via unanimous decision over Eckhart. She won it, like she won every single round. I was kind of in and out. I saw the first round. I missed the second round, but when I came back and saw the third round, she was really dominating. I mean, she was just really putting the right hands and the striking on Eckhart. It's just a solid performance by Mandy Bowen. So at 7-0, she's definitely a flyweight to look out for, in Bellator right now. And man, moving up to this main event, because the original main event wasn't Denise Kielholtz versus Kate Jackson. Who was the main event? I can't even remember right now, but I'm just playing this back right now, man. Denise Kielholtz versus Kate Jackson. I didn't want to do a prediction for this one, like a breakdown prediction, because I'm a fan of both fighters. I'm a fan of Dynamite Kielholtz, and I'm a fan of Kate Jackson. So I was just like, may the best woman win. I was just like, that was my mind frame going into this fight. May the best woman win. But Denise Kielholtz, man, she's just on another level right now. She's a beast, man. She went in there and finished Kate Jackson first round stoppage, less than a minute. I mean, I'm playing it back over and over on Twitter right now, just analyzing it. And I mean, not much to analyze, but just to say that Denise Kielholtz is a beast, man. Like, she went in there, landed a big right hand on Kate Jackson that hurt her, came over the top with a left hand that knocked her out. And as she's falling, you can see she's out. But when she hits the canvas, she kind of rolls and look like she's trying to go into defense. But Denise Kielholtz just jumps on her, and she lets bombs go. So the referee just steps in to protect her. So yeah, it was a legit stoppage, man. It was just a legit stoppage win for Denise Kielholtz. So wow, that's all I got to say about that, man. That's my post-fight reaction right now. But I think Denise Kielholtz, she's just like a beast, man. She's just on another level. And I think Aaliyah McFarland, she's definitely gonna have her hands full. Between her and, I think, what's the other flyweight's name? She's undefeated. I think it's Velasquez. Between those two fighters, Aaliyah McFarland has her hands full. She might not be champion by next year, just being honest. I mean, if she's if she's not focused and she's not prepared to defend her belt against these two, hey, it's going to be a dangerous, it's going to be a dangerous road for her. So right now, I think Denise Kielholtz, honestly, I think she could be champion by next year. I mean, if you guys seen this fight, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. But I'm actually going to go back and do a post-fight analysis on all three of these women's fights. But yeah, man, I think Denise Kielholtz, yeah, she could be champion next year. Shout out to Kate Jackson though. Like I said, I'm a fan of her. That's why I didn't really want to do a pick on this one because of course I've been a fan of her first because I've been seeing her before she was in Bellator, pre-UFC, and seeing her in some of her past fights. So I always been a fan of Kate. She's been cool, but and she's fought the best. But she just was in there with another fighter on another level. So a win over Kate Jackson definitely says a lot about Denise Kielholtz, especially in the fashion that she won it. So definitely shout out to Denise Kielholtz, and I think she deserves a title shot next year. Yeah. Moving on from here. Oh yeah, definitely check out the prelims. The prelims are on Bellator's YouTube channel. They live streamed it, so I got a chance to, like I said, be in and out on it this afternoon. And the main card was on CBS Sports Network, and I don't get that on my cable, so I don't know if that really is a good move for these guys. If they really want to, move it there. I mean, I'm sure it's better than DAZN. I'm not really a big fan of DAZN, but I guess it is better on CBS Sports Network, but it's not on my Spectrum plan, so I have to watch it another way. But definitely check those fights out. They were good. Like I said, it was definitely a solid card. Let's see. But yeah, I want to go back and talk about this weekend's fights between Sarge Eubanks and Ketlin Vieira versus Sijara Eubank. I want to talk about that fight. And of course, there's a few angles of Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa that I want to cover. Just some of the things that went on before the fight, during the fight, and after the fight. Just stuff like that. And of course, it's fight week. It's fight week once again. So I want to give you my picks on the three women's fights this weekend. Loma Louboutin versus Jinyu Frey. GDR, Jermaine Durandame versus Juliana Pena. That's a bantamweight fight that I'm really looking forward to. Solid matchup. And of course, the main event, Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana. I want to give you my pick on all three of those fights as well. But going back up top here, man. Ketlin Vieira versus Sijara Eubank. I actually didn't do a post-fight analysis on this one. I mean, I can if y'all want me to. I just didn't have the time to do it. But I feel like this was a competitive fight. I had to give it to Ketlin, though. I could have seen Sarge winning this one, but I seen too many moments where she just let the fight slip. Once again, I feel like she didn't level up enough to, take the win in this one. Round one, I think Sarge started off stronger, and I was giving her the round because I felt like she had good control of the round until Ketlin came back with those right hands. When she started landing on Sarge, landing those good, solid, significant strikes, and she got the takedown, I could see that's where the judges gave it to her. So at the same time, that's where I kind of feel like, okay, now you're letting the round slip. You let her kind of start off with that clinch control at the beginning of the round. Now you're starting to let her touch you. She's starting to touch you up with those significant right hands, and then she's going to take you down. So you might have let that round slip. That's what I said. But second round, that was Ketlin Vieira all the way. I feel like she won that round solid. So when Ketlin bagged the second round, I was like, uh-oh, Sarge is in trouble. I think she's going to need a knockout to win. And I think Sarge possesses the power and the strength to get in there and knock Ketlin out. But I think she was just being too cautious, because the third round, Sarge started letting her hands go, man. I feel like she won that round hands down. I feel like she won that solid whenever she started letting those hands go. And when you just go back and look at the first round, I think she just waited too much. She was kind of waiting and fighting behind Ketlin. Ketlin's a bigger fighter, but, she's also slower with her hands. She was wanting to stand and strike with Sijara Eubank, but I feel like if she would have just been first, she could have really picked apart the bigger fighter. Picking apart the bigger fighter is possible, especially if you know how to get on the inside. But yeah, real quick, I think I was going with before, I can really go into. I did pick Sijara Eubank to win this fight. I thought she would have pulled out a decision in this one because I made my pick off of her activity. I made it strictly off of activity. I feel like Sarge, she was in a better groove where Caitlin was coming off a loss, a few injuries, and hasn't been as active as Sajar. But you got to remember that she's top 10 for a reason, and she still has enough tools to beat a lower ranked fighter. She is top. You got to understand she's number 7 for a reason, and Sajari is unfortunately number 13 or 14 for a reason. So that top ranked fighter, if they know what they're doing and they know how to make those adjustments, they're going to go in there and find a way to win, find a way to adapt. Sarge, I still feel like, she needs to really get a grasp of the different tools and different looks in there and really commit to her hands and head movement. She likes to strike and she likes to box. But if you want to do that, you got to let your hands go. I feel like there's too many times she's standing in there. She's standing in there and just fighting behind Caitlin, letting the slower fighter connect with the right hands. She's letting her connect. And then at times, like, she'll move her head and then she'll step straight back. And you're stepping back against a fighter with long range. So even if you step back, you're not going to get out of the way of harms. You're not going to get out of harm's way because you're just stepping in a straight line and Caitlin's throwing a straight right hand. So you're still going to get caught on the end of that shot, which is worse, because she's a long puncher. So, when you let the slower fighter like Caitlin just continue to catch you with those shots, they're going to add up. But I know Sarge has a solid chin. She has decent power. So I would really like to see her start taking more chances in the pocket, honestly, because there's some fighters I would say, no, they need to stay the hell out of the pocket. They like to be in the pocket, but they don't need to be in the pocket. But somebody like Sarge, she could actually take chances in the pocket because her chin is so strong and she could really do damage before, somebody would be able to capitalize off of her, especially like a slower fighter. We already know Sarge is good on the ground, but, I think that in this case, Caitlin, she's also good on the ground. So she could kind of switch it up on her. Caitlin was actually using her size to her advantage in this fight, which I know some people, they pick Caitlin just off of her size. Shout out to BJ. I know BJ with No Filter MMA. He picked Caitlin, because he felt like she was the bigger fighter. But I couldn't just go off her being the bigger fighter. I know he probably meant more to that, but I feel like Caitlin, her just being the bigger fighter, her just having size wasn't going to really do anything unless she knew how to use it to her advantage, which she did. She used it to her advantage. She had to put the weight on Sarge at times when she got her down on the ground. In the first round with that takedown, she used that size to kind of nullify Sarge on her back and put more weight on her, which is smart. But Caitlin also knew how to use her reach when she was in the stand-up battle. So overall, I think that Caitlin definitely has improved with her striking. I think she's still a little bit slower, but if a fighter's going to stand right in front of you, hey, her speed doesn't really matter. But overall, let me know, guys, what you thought of the fight. What do you think Sajara Eubank really needs to do from here? Because, Sajara, she can make bantamweight easy, but she's still a little bit shorter. She has a shorter reach than some of these taller bantamweights, but she's really going to need to know how to make adjustments to these taller fighters, especially if she doesn't want to be a flyweight. If she wants to be a bantamweight, she's going to have to adjust to fighting these tall, long fighters that teeter between bantamweight and featherweight, especially whenever she was going to fight Macy Chase on. That was like a fight I really had to dissect. I actually did a breakdown of that fight, like a film study type video. I just didn't put it out because, the fight didn't take place. I mean, if Macy Chase on a Sarge fight, then I'll put the video out, but I'm not going to put it out right now, unless y'all want me to put it out. But yeah, overall, I think Sarge just has quite a few things to really, really commit to. She has the tools, she has the tools to beat a lot of these top fighters. She just has to apply them more so. As for Caitlin from here, this fight might push her up the rankings. I'm not sure. I think she's number 7 right now. This might push her in there with the winner of Irene Aldana versus Holly Holm. Who knows? But yeah, she's just trying to get back into the thick of things right now because, right now, Caitlin just needs to stay active. So anybody's a good fight for her right now. Lena Landsberg, too. Yana Kunitskaya, anybody like that. But yeah, Sarge, I still want to see her in that Macy Chiasson fight, though. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section, like I said, who's next for those fighters. Yeah, man, going back here to Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa, the main event. All right, y'all. Yeah, like I said, man, fight went the way I felt it would go. a dominant win for Izzy. And, Izzy was able to stop him via unanswered strikes, after, dropping him with a very solid left hook. And before that, he was just simply chopping Paulo Costa down with a leg kick. I mean, he was just swinging that axe. He was just swinging that axe at that foundation until eventually that tree fell. And that's why I tell people, man, like when you really pick your fighters, man, you really got to look at what they do, how they did it, and who they did it against. Basically, I'm saying check your resumes. I'm saying check your resumes because a lot of y'all pick y'all's wins and a lot of y'all pick y'all's favorite fighters, but y'all ain't looking at who they really fought. Because I feel like, all right, I'm looking at Paulo Costa over here. I'm looking at Israel Adesanya over here. I'm already giving Izzy the pass because I'm looking at all these names he's already beat. He's beat some top level guys, and the way he's beat them, he showed us different looks. Not every fight's going to come by knockout, but he's got other ways to beat him. Whereas Paulo Costa, he's doing his thing. He's scoring his knockouts. He's looking like a nightmare over here. But who are you beating? Who are you beating? You kind of struggled over here with a Yoel Romero, whereas Izzy, I think he could have really beat Yoel Romero easier, but Yoel Romero didn't really want to engage in that fight. I mean, he got his leg ripped up too, but I mean, he didn't really want to engage with Israel Adesanya. So, that fight's kind of exempt from saying, okay, he didn't do it as good as he did it. Because, at the same time, Paulo Costa, he had some trouble with Yoel Romero, like I said. But overall, Izzy really has the better resume, and like I said, he showed us many tools. But like I said, with Paulo Costa, there's still some things that need to be seen. There's still some things that need to be worked out with him. And you guys saw it. There was just there was so many there's so many levels, Israel's so many levels above Paulo Costa, it wasn't even funny. And my question to y'all is now, like, was this fight good? Was this a smart fight for him to take now? Like, has it taken anything away from him mentally or physically now, going in there this early with him? I know the money probably was good and the hype was all good at the time. I know the hype probably had him feeling like, oh yeah, all my fans got me hyped up. Maybe I can beat him, because his energy, Paulo Costa, his energy outside of the octagon, it was different than his energy in the fight, and that's when you can tell whenever a fighter knows he's already been beat. That's when he knows he's already been licked, because when I saw his just his overall demeanor, coming to the octagon, the way he was looking at the stare down, the way he's kind of been, I'd say even at the if I first noticed when they first met on the island, like whenever they kind of looked at each other and kind of sized each other up, when they first got to the island, Paulo kind of had a different energy about him. It wasn't the same energy that he had when he was calling him out, whenever Izzy first beat Robert Whitaker. It wasn't like that. His overall energy was more so respect and more so like, did I bite off more than I could chew? You could almost see it in his face. So I just think that Paulo Costa, he kind of put himself in a position where he let the money and the hype put him where he didn't need to be yet. Maybe with a few more wins, he would have gave Izzy more of a run for his money. If he kind of would have polished some things out, but I don't even know then. I really don't know then, because it would take more than 2 or 3 fights to take on a guy who can, switch his style up and, just dictate the pace in the octagon and just control the fight for 5 rounds. You know what I mean? Whether you like his style or not, or whether you call him boring or not, is he still in control? So it's just levels, man. It's just really levels to this, man. But and the thing too, man, I just want to go back and say too, man, but Israel Adesanya is like, in my prediction, I was picturing the fight where he's just picking him apart with jabs and right hands and using all these tools, just whooping up on him to showcase everything. But I think it's more so impressive and almost humiliating for Paulo how he just chopped him down with one leg kick, one simple leg kick throughout the first round. And Paulo Costa did not know how to make that adjustment to stop it. Either he didn't want to stop it because he wanted to see if he could take it. He wanted to prove he had the balls to take it. Or he really didn't know how to get in the inside, or he was just too scared to get on the inside. So staying at that mid-range, it really just put him on the chopping block, literally, for that leg. That leg was literally on the chopping block because he respected Izzy too much to fight him on the inside and take the fight to him. So he said, I'm gonna just stay here in the middle and pretend I can take this leg kick all night, and I'm gonna wait for a big roundhouse kick to come. But that never came. So that was the impressive part with Izzy. Like I said, he didn't have to use all those other tools. He just chopped him down in the first round, and then he started going upstairs, and then he set up the kill in the second round. So yeah, man, those levels are just beautiful to look at, man. Whenever you just really appreciate a fighter who really knows his skill and technique. But again, man, it was, I think I already covered that. I was just looking at a little outline I had here. Paulo, like I said, yeah, Paulo definitely knew he was outgunned. Like I said, I think it was just the exposure, the hype, and the money. Like I said, I think he just felt like it was it was just so much to not. It was just so much money and hype, and he was putting everything on the line that he, whether he knew he could beat him or not, he couldn't turn it down. It was just something like that where I can't turn it down now. I can't turn my back on it. I can't pull out of this fight now. And Paulo, he's not even though he doesn't have the skill, he's got the balls to say, I'm going to go in there and do this thing. He's one of those type of guys, one of those type of fighters where I know I'm outgunned. I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked, but at this point, I'm not going to turn my back. It's a code. It's a man thing. So he was just on that. He was just on that with it, I think, at that point. So he knew he was outgunned. I mean, you could see it with the body language. But the last thing I want to talk about, shout out to Coach Shelton Harrison. He did a video on this because this was something I was going to talk about as well on my podcast episode, because I talked about this before with the how do I call it, the demeaning acts of champions at times, things I don't like, things I don't really condone either in the ring. But after Izzy won the fight, well, after Izzy dropped Paulo Costa, Paulo Costa was on his knees and he was kind of bent over and shelled up. And as the referee broke him, Izzy kind of got on his back and started humping him, got on his ass and started humping him, which I was like, okay, that's, all right, that's enough, man. We know you won. And with that, Paulo Costa, called him human trash for doing that. After his head cleared and after he got a chance to really speak out after the fight, he called him human trash. And I know some people were saying, oh, he's being a sore loser. Some people might say, he's just mad now. He can't accept this defeat. But Paulo Costa speaking out, calling him human trash because of what he did to him, that's something demeaning. It's one thing when you knock somebody out, you stand over them and go, yeah, I did it. Yeah, what? Or you submit them and you roll off them, you just kind of give them the look, or you act like you're going to hit them again. That's one thing. That's just to show that, look, I'm superior to you at this point. But when you start to simulate like you taking a guy's manhood, or you're, like I said, doing something like borderline sexual harassment to him, I think that's a little too much. I think that's a little too much. And I think it kind of takes away in your class. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to be a champion, but you got to be a champion with class too, man, because people are looking. That's why I say I'm on Paulo's side on that, because I don't condone that, as far as, being rapey, beat somebody down. And then after that, when they already submitted, you want to humiliate them and do an act like that. Like, that's something you would do. No, I don't get down with that. I mean, it has nothing to do with sexual orientation either. That's just something where you're saying you're taking advantage of a person. That's why I say I don't condone that. That's why I just look down on that. And I put that in the category like with Tyson Fury licking the blood off of Deontay Wilder. When people do that, I mean, I don't like those type of acts of champions. I won't say I hate or dislike these people, because I still like Israel Adesanya as a fighter. I respect his actions as a fighter when he's fighting and performing. But, if you're the type of champion that just can't go in there and win gracefully, people say you got to lose gracefully as well too. They got to say, oh, you got to take the L and just be humble. But I think you also need to be a humble champion. If you already won, you already shut him up by, using your skill. There's no need to demean him or demean yourself anymore by, dry humping the guy. You know what I mean? So if you get down with that, like, hey, that's cool. But I mean, not in like a rapey way with somebody. If that's what you do outside of the octagon, that's all right. That's cool. But I mean, just don't be doing that to people when they're already down and hurt. So I definitely respect where Costa was coming from with that. He calls him human trash. If he thinks he's trash for doing that to him, I can respect that because, yeah, I don't want nobody doing that to me. Like if I'm down or if I'm bent over, I don't want nobody humping on me like that I don't even know, somebody trying to take advantage of me. So, yeah, I get that. So for Israel Adesanya, like I said, I like him as a champion. I like him as a fighter. But, I definitely don't condone a lot of the things these champions, they do out of the octagon sometimes, whether it's John Jones and the drugs and the whatever, there's a lot of things I don't respect there. But when you can get in the octagon and perform and you have skill, that's what I'm looking at. So Izzy, I think he is a good champion in that right, but I could definitely see where Paulo was coming from with that type of behavior. Yeah, I don't like that type of behavior, just like with Tyson Fury, again, that's just some weird stuff. So I'm just like, no, don't do that, man. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all thought, that whole thing. Like I said, shout out to Coach Sheldon Harrison. I know you did that video on that, man. Like I said, myself, I thought that was a little bit disturbing, right whenever the fight finished. And I saw that, I was like, oh, come on. And now it's just like a meme too. Everybody's replaying that. So that's going to make people look at you in a different light. You already got the belt. You're supposed to be somebody who stands a little bit taller than that. And you're supposed to be, standing for something more, especially whenever a lot of young kids are looking at you as a role model. You got to watch what you do now. You really got to watch what you do, especially after you win a fight. But yeah, man, that's all I got on that segment. Let me know, guys, in the comment section what y'all thought, about Paulo calling him human trash. And do you think Izzy was a little out of line with that behavior, celebrating his victory with with the dry hump? What do y'all think? But yeah, man, moving on here. Like I said, it is fight week. This week we have Holm versus Aldana. Holmes Aldana. I really don't know. A lot of people think this is a solid main event, but like I said, the women deserve the main events as well. But Holly Holm, I'm not sure if this is going to lead to another title shot for her. I know how a lot of people feel about her getting the title shot. I'm a fan of Holly Holm. I like her. I think she's a good person. In the octagon, I like her, and out of the octagon, I like her. But I definitely know that she is set up more so than other fighters with the privilege to get more title shots than they deserve. You know what I mean? Like somebody like her, let's say if her and Sajara Eubank were in the same boat, near the same rankings, had the same number of losses and the same number of wins, if both fought the same way, we know Sajara Eubank wouldn't get that same treatment that Holly Holm would get. I think if Sajara Eubank was like a former champion and then she fell at 13-5, Sajara Eubank would probably be cut at some point, or she would never get a title shot. Whereas, Holly Holm gets a title shot because she's more so popular and she definitely puts the butts in seats, as they say. But, that's no knock to her. I know that's just something that, the fans, they want. Dana, he's riding with it too. So, it just continues to work out that way for her. But I think that, yeah, like I said, Holly Holm, I like her, but there's sometimes I feel like, these title shots just get a little overwhelming when these title shot opportunities just get a little overwhelming whenever she just, is constantly in there getting them like that. But yeah, she has one coming up, or, a potential one coming up. This one might be a title eliminator here, with Irene Aldana on October 3rd. And honestly, man, I thought that Irene Aldana should have been fighting for the title next. And honestly, I think Irene Aldana should have been getting it next now because, I feel like she has some solid wins under her belt, with the knockout over Caitlin Veria. And then I thought they were going to let her fight Aspen Ladd at a time. I know they were going to let Holly Holm fight Aspen Ladd, but I thought Irene Aldana versus Aspen Ladd, that would have been a good title eliminator. She had a win over Vanessa Mello before that. And I know she lost to Raquel Pennington, but I thought that, Irene Aldana was really setting herself up for a title shot. But, now with this fight, Holly Holm might be getting herself a title shot again, if she pulls out the win. But before I give you my quick prediction on that fight, real quick, going back to the prelims, Loma Labukni versus Jinyu Frey in the strawweight division. For Loma Labukni, I feel like she has a very good stand-up game. I feel like she's a very strong striker, has some solid kicks. She puts good pressure on you. But I feel like Jinyu Frey I think she's a little bit physically stronger and a little bit more polished. I like her accuracy as well. I know she's coming off a loss to Kay Hansen, but I thought she did some impressive things in that Kay Hansen fight. She just didn't fall into the ground game with Kay Hansen. Whenever Jinu Frey can keep it standing and keep it in a clinch or keep it at a distance, I think she's a very patient, economical fighter. She's very efficient, and I think Loma Labutni, she can also be accurate with her shots, but I think sometimes, she can get a little bit reckless. I think she takes more chances. So that's something that Jinu Frey has to look out for. I know Angela Hill had a pretty good scrap with Loma Labutni when she made those adjustments. She was kind of in and out, landing more good combinations. So I think Jinu Frey is going to have to be a little bit more busier in this fight, but definitely going to have to home in with some good counter shots on Loma Labutni just to keep her honest. So with this fight, I'm going to go with Jinu Frey. Like I said, I'm a Jinu Frey fan, but I'm also just going with her as far as her efficiency and her accuracy from what I've seen in the past. I think that Jinu Frey can win this fight by I'm going to pick her by unanimous decision. Yeah. So Jinu Frey, unanimous decision over Loma Labutni. And moving on, man, like I said, this is a highly anticipated match between Jermaine Duraname and Juliana Pena. Man, this is going to be a good fight, man. Really, this is going to be kind of explosive if it stays on the feet. But if Juliana Pena can get this fight to the ground, I can see her submitting somebody like Jermaine Duraname. But you're going to have that strength. You're going to have that chin and that skill. You're going to have a jab to get in on Jermaine Duraname. You're not just going to run in there and take her down like that unless you're like really polished like Amanda Nunes, in my opinion. Like I know Juliana Pena is solid. She's definitely solid on the ground. But I feel like Jermaine Duraname, she's a big girl. See, Amanda Nunes is a big girl, so she can kind of counter that and get her down to the ground. But I feel like Juliana Pena, she's really going to have to use angles in this fight and not step in or anything crazy. Because, Aspen Ladd, she was trying to put pressure on Jermaine Duraname from the outside, coming straight in, and she caught one of them big right hands and went down. So, Juliana Pena is definitely going to have to take this fight to the ground to have any chance of winning. And for Jermaine Duraname, she could just keep this as a good standing fight, a good stand-up fight, and I think that she's going to have to use her takedown defense. It's really hard to say if GDR, her takedown defense has really improved because she didn't really use it well in the Amanda Nunes fight. I think that's something that she really still needs to get a grasp of, I mean, she definitely has the power to knock people out and get them off her, but, that's something she really needs to do if she really wants to step up and get another title shot, and she's going to need it against Juliana Pena because Juliana Pena is going to really try to take her down in this fight. But if I had to pick a winner, this fight is 50-50, but it's really going to play out, like I was just saying, if GDR keeps this fight standing and she uses her takedown defense, and if she fights this fight in the clinches, if she keeps this standing fights on the outside or the inside, I could see her winning and possibly stopping Pena in the third round. But if Juliana Pena takes this fight to the ground, it'll be a little bit more competitive. And I think she can win a close decision, only if she gets takedowns in this fight. Only if she gets the takedown in the first round or the second, and she rides those round out and really makes Jermaine Duraname tired. And, she really kind of like nullifies Jermaine Duraname's punch output. That's the only way you're going to beat somebody like GDR is taking her off of her feet, because when she stays on her feet, she's a solid, all-around solid boxer, man, and definitely got that power to hurt you. So I'm going to stay 50-50 on this one, man. Let me see. Let me be honest, though. If you want to pick from me for real, though, I'm going to go with GDR by a decision in this fight. I think she's a very big girl, and I think that if she keeps this fight standing and uses that reach, she's going to come away with a win. So I'm going to pick GDR in this fight, Yeah, I'll pick that. But like I said, it could go to the ground, man. But if y'all want me to pick somebody, I'm going to pick GDR. All right. And last fight, the main event, Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana. I think this fight might be to the casual fan, it's going to be a boring chess match. Let's be honest. I think it might be a boring chess match because I feel like Irene Aldana, she's not really like a straight up brawler type that's going to walk into Holly Holm and, go crazy and, put the pressure on her in the clinch and try to fight her, wild style. She's going to be more so boxing at a range and looking for the counters. And same with Holly Holm. Holly Holm sometimes, she's looking for that head kick. So she's always kind of going to be fighting at a mid range. At the same time, she kind of jabs short, honestly. I think that's like a weakness of Holly Holm sometimes. She kind of jabs short. So, she's not really committing to a full on jab where she's going to be connecting all night, piecing Irene Aldana up. I can also see some of her punches being telegraphed where Irene Aldana is able to duck them. Irene Aldana, her being a solid boxer too, I think this is going to be kind of an all around chess match at times, so it could be a boring 3 rounds. I could see Holly Holm getting countered a few times by Irene Aldana because Irene Aldana knows how to put her punches together. If she's missing the right, she's coming back with the left hook. If she misses a jab, she's coming back with the right hand. If she misses one jab, she's doubling the jab. So she's very efficient and economic with her shots, but she makes them count. Irene Aldana is a very precise puncher. If you go back and look at that knockout, Ketlin Varian knockout, she definitely has a very, very accurate left hook. So that's something Holly definitely has to look out for. Holly Holm, again, her, she's a fast fighter, but sometimes predictable, but she'll be looking for that head kick. Her ground game and her clinch game is getting better. So if she was to get outboxed in this fight, she's going to try to go in for a clinch and maybe make this an ugly fight on the inside where she just kind of presses the action to the fence, works on the inside with the underhooks, kind of like how she did to Rocky Pennington in the second fight. So, it could be just like a chess match or a clinch fest like that. I really don't see like this fight being like a fight where they both trade or where there's going to be a lot of punches landed. Like, even Irene Aldana versus Betch Coer, that fight had a little bit more action. Lucy Pudilova versus Irene Aldana, those are more where she could connect with her hands. If Irene Aldana chooses to press the action in this fight, I think she could come out the winner with a decision in this fight. I think she could, if she was able to press Holly Holm back. But again, Holly Holm is fast on her feet, and if you step in at that wrong range, she's going to look for that head kick. Let's be honest, that's one of her major weapons, and I think, again, like I said, I think this will be a boring fight, but I think it'll definitely give us some answers about where Holly Holm is going to, where her place is going to be at this point. I think we already know, as fans of MMA, we already know that Holly Holm has fought the best and came up short after the Ronda Rousey fight. She's fought some of the top fighters like Jermaine Duraname, Chris Cyborg, Valentina, Misha Tate, and she just came up short in all those fights. So that lets us know that she's still not making the right adjustments. But now with the fight against Irene Aldana, that'll kind of tell us where she really stands. Because Irene Aldana, I think she teeters sometimes herself, but I think this is her time now where she kind of feels like, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to step out of the box and get this belt. Hopefully that's her mind frame. But if I had to pick in this one, if I had to pick with this one, like I said, it could be a boring chess match. I'm gonna go with Holly Holm in this fight. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Holly Holm in this fight. I think that Holly still has that experience to really go in there and kind of nullify some of the things that Irene Aldana does. Holly Holm is an experienced boxer. She's a former boxer herself, so she'll know what to do against some of the moves that Irene Aldana puts on her in there. As far as just kind of countering and moving. And she'll try to close that distance and really put a clinch on her and just kind of ride these rounds out to a decision, unless she can land like a head kick. But like I said, with Irene Aldana, she has fast hands, so she might be the one, sticking and moving in this fight and making Holly chase her. If Irene Aldana comes in there with kind of like a Valentina Shevchenko plan where she's using her timing as Holly Holm steps in to land something, and she has decent reach, she could pull off something. I think she could pull off the upset. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Holly Holm, a close, controversial decision. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I am kind of riding for Irene Aldana in this one. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of picking off of, from my technical standpoint. But I would like to see Irene Aldana win this fight because, I think, she's been working hard right now. She deserves a title shot. She's one of the bantamweights I feel like right now still has something to prove and wants to get a strap. So yeah. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what y'all think. Do you think Holly's going to win this one? Do you think it's going to go to Irene? I think it's gonna be an interesting fight. I think it's gonna be an interesting fight. I know y'all don't think it will be, but I'm gonna watch it. But yeah, guys, that's all I got on this one. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and do some post-fight analysis videos for the Bellator 247 women's fights. I'm gonna go back and do those. Who all was it? Yeah, it was 3 of them. So yeah, I'm gonna do those and put those up. But I got another video I'm gonna put out right now tonight. I think y'all will find interesting. But yeah, make sure y'all subscribe, guys. Subscribe here to Combo Breaker 99, the YouTube channel, and subscribe to the Jab Effect YouTube channel. Also, CB99talks.com is coming. That's where I'm going to post the episodes, all the archive episodes I've done. I just post them there. So it'll go to iTunes and all of that. So you can listen to it on there as well. That's just something I'm going to start doing from here on, with that website. So yeah, CB99talks.com, that's coming. Again, make sure y'all subscribe and follow me on Instagram at ComboBreaker99. I'll post all that here, guys. But yeah, thanks for subscribing. Thanks to my new subscribers. And keep on listening. I'm out. Peace.